take two. We're trying that again today. It's Phil Wade from Dalton Wade Real Estate Group in Talia, and we're going to be chatting about converting internet leads, primarily buyer leads, and we're going to, there's the basic mechanics of, what you do to do that, but then we're going to talk a little bit deeper about, when you have someone on the phone and kind of what you need to be thinking about, in regards to that. So just a little top level kind of thinking about internet buyer leads. They kind of fall into three groups. Group one is someone who's looking for an agent right now. When I say right now, I mean like today. And that's why if you do any research or reading on converting internet leads, you need to call them immediately, because an agent here, Jan, this is an interesting story. She called someone 20 minutes after the lead came in, and someone had already beat her to them. 20 minutes, so someone was right on top of it. And it ended up being a $300,000 condo. So the people said sorry, but someone had already contacted them and had already set up the meeting. So again, you want to get into the mindset of that person who's online clicking. What are they doing? That person who's looking for an agent now is looking now, and they may be clicking 2, 3, 4 listings, and the person on there, they just want to find someone who's going to help them now. So again, you want to call immediately. There is no such thing as too fast. Those are the people that click. The other folks, so that's kind of group one. Group one is someone looking for an agent right now. Group two is someone that's beginning their search. They might not be quite ready to go out, but sometime in the future, it can be anywhere from a few weeks to months to maybe even 6 to 9 months. They're not quite ready today. Hopefully, you can have a conversation with them. You can engage with them, and then you can set them up with some alerts so they can kind of see what properties are coming on the market, and you can stay in touch with them. And we'll kind of get into some more of the specifics around that in a moment. So that's kind of group two, and they're convertible. You can get those people. They're the folks that work those leads and are successful with them. They just have a higher conversion rate, overall. And then the last group, and unfortunately it's the biggest group, they're not convertible. They're junk. They're either looking at a price point too low. They can't get pre-approved. They already have an agent. They live next door to the property. Who knows what it is, but they're just not really a quality lead, and that's okay. I mean, the economics of internet buyer leads go something like this. Whatever you're spending, you should be able to get 5 times your money. So if you're spending $1,000 a month, you should be able to generate $5,000 in commissions. Okay, so let's step back. How do you do that? So basically, depending on the price point of the homes in your area, if you get 100 leads, so typically you get about 30 leads a month, maybe. So that's going to cost you $3,000. You get 100 leads, you convert 5, right? 5 out of 100, that's the 5%, and then hopefully your average commission is $5,000. You made $25,000. You paid $3,000 to get it. You made $22,000. So it was profitable, to do that. So a 5% conversion rate is certainly very profitable. But what's the flip side of that? The flip side of that is 95% don't convert. Okay, so you need to kind of keep that in mind. It's like sometimes I'll hear in the agent's voice some discouragement, because again, if you run through 100 leads and only 5 of them love you and 95 don't, it can be a little bit deflating. So, but that's normal. So it's not deflating at all. It's just the nature of the business. It's on to the next lead. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit more. So again, the leads come in typically in 2 ways. Way one, they hit the button and you get either a text, an email, or some type of notification from the lead provider, or they call you. people that call typically are out and maybe they're on their mobile device and they hit call the agent, and then those leads are the best leads. That's why, when your phone rings, you need to answer it, not kind of let it go into voicemail, because it could be that person calling, generating a lead for you, and the best chance you have is right then and there to speak with them. So again, one of the things I see sometimes is when people do have that person on the phone, they're not selling themselves sufficiently. Have some bravado, have some swagger. You're the best real estate agent out there. Understand what these people are looking for. They're looking for somebody to help them. How can you help them? You can help them really in several ways. Way one, you can help them buy the house for less. You know the market. You're going to, make sure they don't overpay, or if they get to the point of the appraisal doesn't come in, obviously they may not go forward. So you're going to make sure they don't overpay. You're going to protect their deposits. You're going to make sure that the money they've put down doesn't get lost. We've done trainings on the financing commitment, the inspection commitment. You need to understand all that, so you're going to help them. And then if you kind of sum all that up, you're going to make the process smoother, less stressful. Buying a home sometimes, as we all know, can be stressful. There's sometimes some moving parts, but you're going to minimize that. And when you're talking to somebody that's a potential prospect, tell them that. Tell them how you're going to help them. Engage them, and then try to get them out to look at, some properties. A lot of times people come into this business and they think it's about selling the house. No, it's not about selling the house. The house sells itself. If anything, you don't want to be selling the house. You want to be pointing out, when we do the training here, we talk about pointing out the bad about the house, so that when the home inspection happens, you don't get blown up and blown out of the water and your deal falls apart. You don't have to sell the house. The people will buy the house themselves if they like it. What you have to sell is yourself. Not the house, but yourself. You have to tell them that you're the person that's going to help them. Just as I said, make sure they don't overpay, their deposits are protected, and the process is smooth. So those are the people that call, and those are the best quality leads. So we need to be all over those folks. The next group are people that click. Okay, so they click, and then we just talked about, we call it speed to lead. You're going to get back to them as fast as possible, and you're going to try to engage them. Now, what if you don't get them? Well, if you don't get them, you're going to leave them a message. You're going to send them a text. You might have already sent them an auto text, and you're going to try to send them an email. Different people communicate in different ways. Millennials, they don't like to talk on the phone. They want to text or email, primarily text. So if you're just hitting them with one channel, a call, you may not get them. You've got to engage. You've got to speak to them. You've got to go from online to offline. That's a critical step. If you get them out to look at a property, your conversion rate goes up dramatically. So you're going to leave them. If you don't get them, you're going to leave them a message. You're going to send them a text, and you're going to send them an email, and you're going to try to get them to respond. And then what if they don't respond? Well, if they don't respond, you're going to do it again the next day. So you're going to hit them again. And then for me, that's kind of where I cut it off. So basically, I go day one, day two. I call it 2 times 3. It's two days, 3 things: call, message, text, email. Now, if you all like, you can look on YouTube and Google real estate agent 10 days of pain. And there's a video where somebody will hit these people for 10 days in a row. They're brutal. I don't prescribe to that theory, because I think after 2 days, they're probably not all that interested. But they may not be interested because they're falling into group 2. Okay? They're falling into group 2. Group 2, remember, is somebody that's not looking to engage an agent right now. They're looking to engage an agent a month, 2 months. So if they don't call you back or respond, it doesn't mean they don't like you. It just means they're not ready. Possibly it means they're not ready right now. So how do you combat that? You combat that by setting them up with an alert or some type of drip email campaign, so your name stays in front of them. You take the listing they came in on. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage. It's $200,000 was the price point. You take that zip code. You set them up either, we use Boomtown. You set up on Boomtown for an alert. If your company doesn't have Boomtown, you do it in MLS My Matrix, and then you can watch them. You can see if they're interacting with those alerts. Now, if they're not, so they either interact or they don't interact. If they don't interact, you hit them 6 times. They didn't open any of your emails going forward. They didn't, they never logged on. Junk. So they're going to go in that 95% group, and that's if it's somebody that's both Boomtown and the MLS portal allow you to see if they're actually opening your email. So, and I really encourage and stress to do this. This is the difference. Again, I mean, the sensitivity of the numbers is incredible. So we'll use 33 leads a month, okay, for a year. That's 400 leads. So that's 100 leads a quarter. If you can go from 3% conversion to 5% conversion, that's 2 extra transactions a quarter. That's 8 transactions a year, okay, times 5,000 on average. That's $40,000. That's a lot of money, So basically, getting a couple percent more just being because you were better. You did it better. You stayed involved. You worked those leads. I mean, the leads, it's like being a gold miner. You're looking for the gold, and the gold is in your database. You just got to know how to get it extracted. So, setting up those auto alerts or a drip campaign. I'm not a big believer in drip campaign. I love the auto alerts. Drip campaigns, to me, they're impersonal. But the thing you can do, so you see somebody, they never responded, but now they've opened up your emails and they're looking at properties and they're logging on. Call them, maybe in 6 weeks, throw a call into them, shoot them a text, hit them with an email, start the process again, and you'd be surprised, some of them will respond at that point. Now, if you don't do that or you never set up the alert, you have no chance of getting them. So you have to really have your plan, have your strategy, and then kind of go from there. So, we kind of talked about, the 2 times 3, setting up the alerts, hitting them back, several weeks later if they're actually doing something, watch their activity. And then, the thing I like to do, again, is personally check in every so often, either with a call, text, or an email, and make it personal. Don't like an autoresponder, they're just saying, they're just blasting this out. If it's a personal email just sent to them, people love that, and you might get them. So you got to touch them when they're ready. That's the key. You got to hit them when they're ready. So it's that's a little bit deeper today on converting internet leads. You really want to, you have the advantage. And what do I mean by that? You have the advantage because you know where that call is going. You're working these calls all the time, or these leads. So when I'm on the phone with a prospective new client, I already know where I'm going with them. And hopefully it goes there. It doesn't always go there, but I know that I'm promoting myself. I'm telling them how good I am. I'm telling them how I'm going to make it easier for them. I'm going to tell them how I'm going to buy that house for less for them than they would on their own. A common one you'll get in terms of resistance is, I thought you were the listing agent. This is primarily via Zillow, because you got the 4 agents on the page, and they sometimes they get confused who the listing agent is, and they think you're the listing agent. Oh, you're not the listing agent. Oh, I don't want to. So that's an objection. How do you overcome that objection? You overcome it by telling them, as a buyer, you never want to really work with a listing agent. That listing agent has a vested interest to slam that property down your throat. I wouldn't put it to them like that, but that's truly what it is, because that listing agent is going to get double the money. Somehow buyers sometimes think, if I deal with a listing agent, I'll get it for less. But that's not at all true, because the listing agreement's already signed. The commissions are already predetermined. So, a listing agent that's getting the entire, enchilada on both ends is very, very incented, and explain this to the buyer. They're very, very incented to sell them that house. They represent the seller. If they're a single agent, then they can't represent the buyer. If they're a transaction broker, probably, they're supposed to be completely fair, but a lot of times their allegiance, is to the seller. And again, sometimes their allegiance is to their own pocketbook, which means they're going to get the entire commission. Tell the buyer this. It doesn't cost the buyer anything to work with a buyer's agent. It's free, and you're going to help them. You're going to provide a better service. You're going to protect their interests in a way the listing agent won't. Another one you'll hear, oh, I have a realtor. They've come in on Zillow, or they've come in on Realtor. I have a realtor. Well, why isn't your realtor searching for you? What's your realtor really doing for you? You know, we never really want to be poaching anybody's clients, but sometimes, yeah, they may be working with someone, but maybe that person isn't all that good. You know, can I keep in touch with you? You know, can I send you some alerts? You never know. Sometimes people end up, you know, becoming, you know, we run into them, not great realtors. Maybe they become, you know, disenchanted with their current realtor, and it's an opportunity for you. So again, you know, you got to know in advance, like, these phone calls only go so many ways, or, you know, so you got to be prepared in advance. That's what you're doing. You're knowledgeable. You know right where it's going, and you're sort of leading them to where you want them to go, which is, let's go look at some properties. So, all right, thanks for tuning in. Any questions in Periscope land today? All right, well, we'll look for a lot of transactions in 2017. Thanks so much for tuning in. If anybody has any questions, they can contact me offline. Thanks so much.